Hello students, in today's video we will be discussing about the chapter skeleton, movement and locomotion. In this chapter we will be looking into the various aspects of the human skeleton, what are the functions of the human skeleton, what are its constituents and how are bones classified based on their shape. Starting with function function of the human skeleton. So what are the functions of the skeleton? The most obvious one is for the support and shape. Okay, so the shape of the body, it has to be fixed, right? It cannot be like keep on changing. So that fixed shape is possible because of the bones. So we are able to have a definite shape. Also it is important for the protection because there are various delicate organs that are present in the body. Okay, for example the brain is enclosed inside the skull. Okay, so the skull itself is a very hard structure and inside it the brain is safe. Okay, it is protected inside. Okay, the same is true with the rib cage. Inside the rib cage we have the lungs and the heart. Okay, all these organs are there which are sensitive and soft organs, all of them are safe inside. Then it is also important in the movement. Okay, see the bones are not like totally fixed, they are flexible at the joints. Okay, so at the joints they are either very flexible, less flexible. Okay, there is a different ranges of their flexibility. So this is helping the person in locomotion, that is to move from one place to another to perform the various activities. It also provides leverage. So leverage means with less effort you are able to perform the work easily. Okay, now for example the bones of the hand. Okay, the hand, it is able to perform some very important functions. For example, in sport activities, okay, we want to throw some discus throw or throw put or something like that, then what happens, with less movement of the muscle you are able to achieve a greater target, you are able to generate more force. Okay, that is the way how the organization of the bones is there. Okay, that helps in the leverage. Okay, that we will be discussing also in the next part in this chapter. Then it is also important in the formation of the blood. Okay, particularly the RBCs and some WBC. Okay, so inside the bone there is this bone marrow. Okay, which is the place for the synthesis of the blood cells. Okay, then it is also important to know that the bones are the storage for the storehouse for the calcium and phosphorus. Okay, the calcium and phosphorus are stored inside the bones. Okay, so whenever there is a certain requirement, okay, in diet we are not getting sufficient, so always this calcium and phosphorus that is there in the bone is available for the body. Okay, so whenever there is excess, then it will be removed from the body, it will be assimilated in the bones. Okay, this kind of dynamic function will be going on, but the main part is that the bones contain almost 2 by 3rd of their weight is of calcium and phosphorus, the inorganic substances. Okay, next, what are the constituents of this skeleton? Obviously we are able to see that they are the bones are there. In addition to bones they are cartilage. Okay, and they are the ligaments. Okay, so the bones, they provide the hard framework for the body. Okay, whereas the cartilage, it is a connecting tissue. Okay, doesn't have any blood vessel supply or nerve supply. Okay, and it is flexible just like the tip of the ears and tip of the nose. Okay, these are flexible, that is a cartilage. So the important difference between the bone and cartilage is that in the bones we have the supply of the blood vessels, and there are the nerves that are entering inside the bones. But in the case of cartilage, there are no blood supply, there is no nerves inside the cartilage. Okay. Then the ligaments, the function of the ligaments is to make the bone to bone contact. Okay. So there is a one bone and another bone. Okay. So these two need to be held together. So this bone to bone contact is with the help of the ligaments. Okay. So these are the three important constituents of the human skeleton. We will look in more detail about the bones. So the bone is the chief component of the skeleton, and it contains both the organic as well as the inorganic components. So just like we discussed, calcium and phosphorus, these are the important inorganic constituents. Almost 2 by 3rd of the entire bone is composed of this calcium and phosphorus. Suppose we place this bone in a dilute acid, okay, say dilute HCl. Then slowly what will happen, the HCl is going to react with this calcium and phosphorus. It is going to remove that, dissolve it away. So what you are left with is a decalcified bone. Decalcified bone. Now this decalcified bone is very flexible. It's very flexible. Okay, and you can in fact tie a knot. You can make a knot out of it. But if we are removing the organic substance, okay, this is about the inorganic substance. If we are removing the organic substance, what will happen? Because the organic substance is going to form a matrix, okay, a kind of a structure like a fiber on which this calcium is going to deposit, phosphorus is going to deposit and make it like strong, just like the cell wall of the plants. Okay, just like that. So suppose this matrix is removed, what will happen? Even though this calcium and phosphorus is there, even with a slight impact, these bones, they can break. Okay, so what happen, they become brittle. We say that it is brittle, just like glass. Okay, glass is brittle. Okay, soda glass, what we say, is brittle. So if you hit the glass, it will break. Similarly, the bones also, if the organic content is removed or it is becomes less, okay, if it is become reduced, then the bones will become brittle. This happens in the old age. Okay, the organic part becomes less, and therefore the bones become brittle, and the person is more fragile. They can get the fracture very easily. Okay, they can fracture their bones easily. Now how can we classify the bones? Now based on shape, the bones can be classified into the long bones, okay, short bones, flat bones, and irregular bones. Okay, long bones, like you would have seen in most of the movies, cartoons and so on. The dogs, they like to have a large piece of bone. Okay, it will be something like this. Okay, and the dog really likes this kind of a bone. So this is generally we find in the femur, that is in the lower part of the leg. Okay, So just below our knee, the long bone, that is known as the femur bone. Now this femur bone is a long bone, okay, and it has a knob at each end. So this kind of bleb or knob like structure, okay, we are seeing at both the ends, and it is having a tubular structure in between, and it is filled by a yellow colored fat adipose tissue. Fat tissue is there, okay, and at the ends what you see mainly is the different kind of tissue which is known as the marrow for the synthesis of the blood, okay, that is the red marrow, okay, this is the yellow marrow, okay, because it is having fats, and this is the red marrow, okay, here the synthesis of the RBCs is going to take place, okay, it appears red, dark red in color, okay. So the bones of the arms, legs, in the chest, that is the ribs, they have this kind of organization, this kind of structure, okay, that is with the long bones. Now the external surface of the bone is covered by a membrane, okay, that membrane is known as a periosteum, okay, periosteum, it is known as a periosteum. So osteum means a bone, osteology, osteoclast, osteoblast, all this means related to bone, osteo, okay. Peri means outside, so periosteum is the membrane of the external surface membrane of the bone, okay, and these have a very good supply of the blood vessels, okay. The hollow middle cavity of the bone is filled with the marrow, right, all of this one, the yellow marrow is having the adipose tissue, red marrow is produces the RBC, okay. So generally at the end of these kind of bones we will have the ligaments, okay, ligaments are going to join bone to bone, okay, and then there is going to be a cartilage. So generally those who have the non-vegetarian food, they will be able to see that at the end of these bones you can see some kind of translucent kind of tissue, okay, that is known as the cartilage, which is known as the hyaline cartilage, okay, cartilage. So the cartilage is also part of the skeleton, okay, bone, cartilage and ligament we discussed earlier, right. So cartilage is the flexible, it doesn't have any supply of the nerves or blood vessels, okay. So here you have the cartilage, hyaline cartilage, in between this one is the yellow marrow, okay, which is having the fats, okay, and this one is the spongy bone, okay, this one is the spongy bone, it is a spongy bone that is going to, that is nothing but the red marrow that will make the RBC, okay. Now the short bones, they have this box like a spongy bone, and they show very little movement, okay, just like in the ankle and in the wrist, okay. In the ankle and wrist the size of the bones are much smaller, right, and they have a limited movement, okay, but they are very important to provide, to give that particular shape to the hand, okay, that shape, that support, okay, that is, for that it is extremely important. The flat bones, they are composed of two or more parallel plates of compact bones, okay, enclosed by the spongy bone. For example, in the shoulder blade, so the shoulder blade, it will come almost like this, like a triangle, okay, of the skull and sternum. Sternum is the bone that is in the middle of this rib cage, ekdam on the front, okay. So that sternum, skull and the shoulder blade, all of these have this kind of flat bone. Okay, the irregular bone, these are complex shaped and the amount of the bone tissue varies, the compact and spongy, for example in the facial and vertebral bones. So the vertebral bones we will see in the further part of this chapter, they have very much intricate kind of design. Okay, they have a lot of intricate design, so that is a very complex shape. Okay, so that is what we see, this kind of irregular one is there in this facial bones as well as in the vertebral bones. Okay, so these are the different types of bones based upon the shape. Now when we look at the human skeleton in detail, there are the 206 bones in the human skeleton. Okay, including the very tiny bones that are there in the ear. The skeleton has the major two divisions. Human skeleton has a two divisions. One is the axial skeleton and the other one is the appendicular skeleton. Okay, so this axial skeleton means that is the basic central framework. Okay, central framework, everything from the vertebrae, okay, hips, the skull and everything. So this is the basic. The appendicular is nothing but the appendages. Okay, appendages means what? These are the limbs, okay, the girdles. Okay, these ones all come under the appendicular skeleton. Okay, the axial skeleton, it consists of the skull, the vertebral column, ribs and sternum. Okay, so these are the important ones that are a part of the axial skeleton. Okay, because human skeleton we are breaking it down into the two, one is the axial and is the appendicular, that is for our benefit of understanding. So this one is the central framework. Okay, the skull, the vertebral column, ribs and sternum. Okay, so the appendicular will have the limbs and girdle. We can look at the detail of the structure of the skull, the vertebral column, sternum, ribs, and then about the appendicular skeleton. Okay, that is the bones of the limbs and girdles in detail in our next video. Okay, so when we are in this particular chapter, so we will be looking about the skeleton in these two aspects, followed by what are the joints, what are the different types of joints, and muscles also, what are the different kinds of muscles and how this lever mechanism works. Okay, so these are the various aspects that we'll be covering this chapter. So today's one was a basic introduction about the human skeleton. We will cover in more detail in our next video. Thank you.